In Texas, we have fire alert days like people up north have polar vortex alerts days when the tinder is flash fire capable. Sounds like Hannah's going through the same thing. Yes, Hawk, and this is not uncommon. It is honestly not uncommon for there to be flash fire warnings during the height of summer. When I was in Newfoundland, there would be that where the government would institute fire bans because of an exceedingly hot and dry period of time that makes flash fires more possible. And so, pardon me. So, yes, they would institute fire bans. And honestly, I have no objection to fire bans. Like in any of these provinces, I have no objection to there being a fire ban because of the dry, hot weather causing, resulting in a propensity for a higher risk of a fire ignition. No, I have no issue with that. Never did. What I had the issue with is saying you can't even walk in the woods. And if you do, at least in Nova Scotia, you would receive a $28,000 fine. I don't believe New Brunswick was doing fines like New Brunswick. And I think Newfoundland may not have been doing fines, but they were asking people to stay out of the woods because of the circumstances, which is not great, but I could at least understand it a little bit. Like asking people, like, look, there's a high propensity for fire. We're asking people to stay out of the woods, definitely fire bans, and like approaching it that way. Okay, I could appreciate it a little bit. And thank you, Wood Chipper. Hi, best man. Welcome back. How's it going? 75,000 fines, Bible? I didn't see the 75,000.
One thing farmers have to watch out for is if a hay bale self-ignites. Cheer
this is
100.
true, Darcy. This is true. Kaibo, I didn't hear about... Hang on, let me look that up. I heard about the 28,000, the 25,000. Yeah. So there's a $25,000 ban, plus a victim survey. Yeah, so basically, there's a ban on, this is for Nova Scotia, there's a ban on entering the woods to prevent wildfires, and the fine for violating this ban is $25,000, plus a victim surcharge and HST, bringing the total to $28,872.50. Literally $5,000 in fees. Hi, kitten. I have not heard about a 75,000. Oh, hang on. Oh, this was an article from 22 hours ago that fines now range from 50 to 150,000, as well as a year in prison in, is it New Brunswick? Hang on, I thought it said New Brunswick. Give me a second. All right, Leo, let me bring this up. Hang on, because this has been discussed, and I've actually seen other YouTubers talking about this. This will be good to bring up. Hang on, let me pull this up here. Let me kill the music so I can talk about this. All right, so thank you, Askendarov, for the follow. All right, so this is the thing I was talking about before. Jeff Evely, in Nova Scotia, purposefully got the ban so he could facilitate challenging in court. Hi, Honey Poo. Okay. So this is where it was. Nova Scotia man has been slapped with a fine worth more than $28,000, almost $29,000, after deliberately violating the province's ban on woods travel. A movie says was necessary to challenge the provincial proclamation in court. Now, Hypnotic did a story on this and said that it was a politician that did this. Hypnotic, I'm sorry, you're wrong. It was not a politician. This is just, I believe he is a veteran. He is not a politician. So this is just an average guy. I believe he may be a veteran of the military. He is not a politician. In an effort to prevent wildfires in the midst of the drought, the Nova Scotia government has imposed a ban on anyone entering the woods, including hiking, fishing, and camping until October 15th. Or until conditions improve. There's also a ban on open fires. Let me be clear. The ban on open fires, I don't have an issue with. I don't have any problem with this. With the hot, dry weather, a ban on open fires is not unusual. I had this back in Newfoundland. This having it in the Atlantic provinces, the other Atlantic provinces like Nova Scotia, understandable. Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, PEI, because PEI's got a fire ban too. I have no issue with that given the dry conditions. But not letting people enter the woods, including hiking, fishing, and camping. Fishing! You do realize where you have to be when you are fishing. You have to be at the water. The water. To fish. Fish are not on land. Fish are in the water.
Cheer 100. So, what about people who live in the woods in cabins?
That is an excellent question, Leo. I don't think we've ever gotten an answer for it. I don't think there's yet been an answer to that question. But Ray's only in Springfield. Yeah, and again, yeah, the camping thing I can also kind of understand because camping and fire and open fires do kind of go hand in hand. So camping, the ban on camping, I actually can understand that one too. But hiking and fishing, fuck you. You.
R.I.P. Cheer 100. Meow meow meow.
So the fine for violating the proclamation on the Forest Acts is $25,000. A victim surcharge and HST also apply to the fine, bringing the total to $28,872.50. There is literally almost $5,000 in fees and HST. HST it being the harmonized sales tax. And the harmonized sales tax is, let's see, Nova Scotia is Nova Scotia 12 or 15%? Hang on, let me quick math this. So the HST alone, I'll go with 12. So the HST alone would be about, if I'm doing the math right, if I'm getting my HST correct, would be $3,000. So $3,000 for tax and another $2,000 for a victim surcharge. Well, Leo, bearing in mind the HST is what is used to pay for things like healthcare. That's what the HST and the GST is for the purposes of basically healthcare for Canada. So it is what allows for, it's what allows for people to receive health care at no cost. It's basically done via taxes. That's how this shit works. Last Friday, Jeff Everly of Coxheath, Nova Scotia, arrived at the department. Yeah, here's the crazy part. Yeah, the victim surcharge. Yeah, Jeff. The victim surcharge sounds like a scam. That sounds like the government just bilking people for money. So, this man arrived at the Department of Natural Resources office just outside of Sydney, Nova Scotia, and declared that he would be walking into the woods nearby. JRC,
I wonder how this is affecting the operation on Oak Island in Mahone Bay. Cheer 100.
No idea. So he went to the Department of Natural Resources office in Sydney, Nova Scotia, and he told them he would be walking to the woods nearby. He recorded audio and video of his encounter, posted to his Facebook page. I want to challenge this order in court. Guys, seriously, no, I'm talking. I want to challenge this order in court, and the only way for me to do that is get the fine. I'm not trying to make trouble for you. And I watched this video. He was very respectful. I watched the video of it. When he approached the guys at the Department of Natural Resources, he was very respectful. He walked into the door and just said, you know, he knows that they're not the ones making the call, that the people in this department didn't make the call on it. Their higher-ups did. And he's like, I just want to let you guys know I'm going to walk into the woods nearby, and then I'm going to come back, and you guys can give me the fine. So he did it with the express intention of getting the fine. He knew he would get the fine. He was not going to try and give them shit for it. He actually wanted to receive the fine. So he said, I want to challenge this order in court. The only way for me to do it is get the fine. I'm not trying to make trouble for you. And then, of course, the worker says, I'm ordering you not to. But again, in the video, she did it in ways like, I have to order you not to do it. Just because if she did not do it, if the worker did not do it, then that worker, if they issued the fine, then it would give the person that received the fine an out of saying like, well, I was never told that I can't, so this is basically CYA. And the worker didn't do it snarkily or anything. The worker just said, oh, well, okay, I have to tell you, I'm ordering you not to, which he was cool with. And then he said, and then he asked, does somebody want to follow me out there? And it didn't look like anybody followed him out there. I don't think it's classified it's not classified as a felony, Merlin. No, this is not a felony. I don't believe when I watched the video, it didn't look like anybody went out there. So he basically it says here he's seen later walking into dense woods. He didn't walk into dense woods. I watched the video. He literally walked out the back of the environmental office, walked to the wood line, walked about 10 feet into the wood line, turned around, exited, then walked back into the office to receive his ticket. They gave him his ticket, and he went on his way and basically did, pictures, showed the ticket. And here we go. He's a retired veteran of the Canadian Armed Forces who ran as a candidate for the People's Party of Canada in the April federal election. And he's arguing that the ban is too restrictive and an example of government overreach, which I fucking agree with. Absolutely, I agree. This is overreach. There's no logical connection to the goal of preventing wildfires to barring my sneakers from the woods. Yeah, he said in an interview at a provincial park where he regularly walks his dog, he says it's gone too far. So, yeah, it's... let's see. A similar ban was put in place May of 2023 as two major wildfires burned in Halifax and Shelburne counties, destroying hundreds of homes and forcing evacuations of thousands of people. After 2 weeks, the ban was lifted, and Everly filed an application for judicial review of Natural Resources Minister's proclamation, arguing his rights were infringed since the two wildfires did not impact his Cape Breton community. So basically, to let you guys know, Halifax and Shelburne are like 4 fucking hours south of where he resides, which is Cape Breton, which is like the northeast corner of the province. There was like 4 hours of distance by car. Okay, it was a significant distance between where these wildfires in 2023 were and where he resides in Cape Breton. He also argued the province-wide ban was put into place arbitrarily, which I fucking agree. And then the Supreme Court ruled that he did not have standing, meaning he did not have a legal basis to bring the case to court, given the no charge. So that's why he did it, because when he brought this case to court, the Supreme Court said he didn't have a legal cases because he received no fines or charges as a result of the ban. So the Canadian Supreme Court, or the Nova Scotian Supreme Court, said you don't have any justifiable reason to bring this to court. So this man, this year, with this ban, said, okay, you want to play that game? Fuck it. We ball. And got his fine. And so he's going to challenge it in court. And yeah, he's saying he believes that the court has no choice this time around but to examine the legality of the restrictions and whether they are constitutional. Absolutely, because he got a fine. Oh, and he's got a lawyer from Toronto to represent him. And the lawyer leads a team of lawyers at Charter Advocates Canada, which is funded by the Justice Center of Constitutional Freedom. This motherfucker's got a constitutional fucking lawyer. Oh, this is gonna be fucking good. This is gonna be fucking good. He's a veteran with a team of lawyers that specialize in constitutional law. Oh, this is gonna be good. Gonna be fucking good. And here's what he says: it's an arbitrary restriction. It's not rationally connected to stopping forest fires by preventing people from doing activities that have nothing to do with the creation of forest fires. You can't cause a forest fire simply by walking through the forest. And in fact, you might be in a position to prevent a forest fire by reporting an early combustion or even reporting someone who is intentionally going out into the woods to set a forest fire, which is precisely what fucking happened in Nova Scotia with the forest fire yesterday. This right here. Okay. Mr. Everly, I don't know your rank, so I can't address you by rank. My apologies. Mr. Everly, when you take this to court, bring up this very argument and inform the courts that the forest fire, the wildfire that occurred in Nova Scotia, at minimum, still don't know the causes of the Newfoundland fire and the New Brunswick fire. This man needs to go in front of the courts and say, if we had not been banned from walking in the woods, a passerby may have been able to witness that open fire that was left abandoned and either address it or call it in before it turned into the wildfire. Because that is what caused the wildfire in Nova Scotia, was an open fire left unattended, either purposefully or unintentionally, and it could have been prevented if the Nova Scotian government had not banned people from simply walking through the woods. Here we go. So, yeah. And then, of course, the premier said that the ban was put in place following recommendations from experts. And then here's the other stuff. Okay. So, Ken McMullen, president of Canadian Associated Fire Chiefs, said such bans are imposed for reasons better to err on the side of caution. I know this might appear to be inconvenient. I understand this might seem over the top. The reality is desperate times may call for desperate measures. I'm calling bullshit. Let's see. Scott Tingley, manager of forest protection with Nova Scotia Department of Natural Resources, has repeatedly noted that the vast majority of the province's forest fires, 97%, are caused by humans. Humans are causing the forest fires. Why aren't you doing something about the arsonists? So instead of giving people $28,000 bans for taking a hike, why don't your environmental officers and your conservation officers start looking for people with unattended fires and issuing them the fines? Do you ever think that might reduce the amount of forest fires? Since your own resources are citing that 97% are caused by humans? Why aren't your people, instead of hassling people walking in the woods out for a stroll, how about you look for the people that are leaving fires unattended? Okay, now, Newfoundland and Labrador, where multiple wildfires are burning, has vowed to impose lofty fines on people who violate his fire ban. Okay, so this ban is different. So Newfoundland is basically cracking down on their fire ban, which again, I don't have an issue with. I have no problem with a fire ban being put into place when it is a hot, dry time of year. Okay? This I have no issue with. You know, smacking and having a fine from $50,000 to $150,000 for having an open fire while there's a fire ban in place. Good. Abso-fucking-lutely do it. Abso-fucking-lutely do it. And then New Brunswickers are being asked to stay out of the woods, and the province has banned all access to Crown land as crews battle 10 active wildfires, including 2 major ones. But it has not imposed a hefty fine. Notice the difference. New Brunswick has quote-unquote banned people from all access to Crown land, which is basically public land. Crown land is public land, effectively speaking. but it's not imposing a hefty fine. Yet Nova Scotia is slapping people with a $29,000 fucking fine for walking 10 feet into the woods. But New Brunswick is not. Wonder why? I wonder why.